Open-wheeled racing has deep roots in America's South. In the beginning, it was men like Haroon, De Palma, and Chevrolet chasing the grand prize. Now it's men like Larson, Simmons, D'Amata, and Nevis. Open-wheeled racing has deep roots in America's host city, Savannah, Georgia. And today, the PPG Firestone Indy Lights Championship has brought it back. The beautiful landscape of Hutchinson Island in Savannah Harbor, Georgia, a brand new Grand Prize circuit stands ready for the assault of the PPG Firestone Indy Lights Championship. Hello, everybody. I'm Chris McClure. Welcome to Savannah and the return of auto racing to this great city in the South. It's been absent for 86 years, but now with the arrival of round number 4 of the 1997 PPG Firestone Indy Lights Championship, it has returned. Happily, we're joined by Mark Blundell, our analyst for this race here in the sunny South. Mark, you've had an opportunity in an Indy car to run on this brand new circuit. Your impressions?
Very impressed. It's a fantastic facility. It's got some very interesting corners, and it's got a European flavor to the track.
Now, when you put a new track together with a relatively young field of racing drivers, such as we have in this series, tactically, how should they approach this in order to get to the end of the day?
Well, of course, they can be open-minded. It's the same for everybody out there. Nobody's got any track data. So they've got to see how they're going to develop with the circuit. We may know that conditions might change. They might keep intact, and tyres may be a key issue for this race.
Well, new track or not, those that have been hot this year sometimes do stay hot. And that's the case in our Sea-Doo Ski-Doo Pole Award. Here's Marty Reed.
Well, Chris, it's an all-Tasman Motorsports front row, and the only man to break the 1-minute 5-second barrier is on my left, pole sitter Helio Castroneves. And I got to tell you, it was one heck of a lap. But we can't just talk about that, because in the morning warm-up, you had a little tangle with the wall.
That's right. Not only the warm-up, of course, and before the qualifying yesterday, I had also an incident. But the team's doing a superb job. I mean, all the car all the time when I came to the track, it's really damn fast. So I just doing my good job, and it's a very good team.
Well, I got to ask you one other quick question. It's your teammate right alongside of you. You guys have gone up through the ranks, through karting and everything, down through Brazil. What's going to happen if it comes down to the end of the race between you two?
Well, definitely Tony is a very good race car driver, and we know since very early in the go-karts. So I'm sure on the racetrack nobody will remember that. Just keep looking at the front, close the visor, and try to do the best. And I'm sure it will be very good battle between me and him, and of course always good for Marlboro Tasman.
Chris, I don't want to give him any bad news, but the fastest guy in the morning warm-up turned out to be David Empringham. These guys got their hands full.
And, well, they should. That's the name of the game. Competition among all the runners and riders. You see the lights out on the pace car beginning to pull away with Helio Castroneves, his third pole of the year, in front. Tony Kanaan tucked in the number 7 machine just behind him. The matched Tasman racers all red as they move into the final turn under the Firestone Bridge, now beginning to form up in rows of 2. They'll be looking at Gordon Ensing at the other end of this straightaway. When they get to race speed, Mark Blundell, at turn 1, and the turning point, they'll be at about 150 miles an hour. The first 4 or 5 rows in pretty good shape, and we have contact back in the field as they came off the corner. We do get a green flag, and somebody's lost a wing back there in the middle of the pack, but we're racing at Savannah. We may go to a yellow immediately off that, but through turn 1, it looks okay up front.
Looks good. I mean, there was a bit of a shame for that guy there. He just got loose off of that turn there onto the grid there, and he's lost his nose already, so that could be the end of his race.
And you see a big pack up as they jockey for position in the early going. In the first couple of rows, Luis Garcia Jr., no scoring so far this year. Sergio Paese in the 4 car. Keep an eye on him. And Osvaldo Negre, number 97, all with their best qualifying of the year. And there's David Empringham in the blue number 33, quickest in the warm-up this morning. He has a good prospect of moving forward. Won at Homestead and, of course, was the champion back in 1996. The number 4 machine moving into the lead pack, and also Empringham right there. He's picked up a couple of spots already as we work lap number 1 in anger here at Savannah, and they're locking them up. Hard braking into the corner. That was 99 Lee Bentham in the team car along with David Empringham. Pretty tough spot right there for braking. And there you see the debris on the front straightaway just opposite the pits, and now we have more debris flying around as they run over some of that. So some of them perhaps risking a cut tire here.
That's very dangerous there. There's all that debris on the circuit, and if they do get a cut in the tire, especially going to this turn 1, it's the fastest corner on the circuit. If they have a blowout of the tire, it could be very dangerous.
Well, those Firestones are rugged customers in terms of racing equipment, but you can't ask too much of them, even in this situation. And there you see Lee Bentham picking up a spot as he swings by the 25 car of Naoki Hattori, trying to move up through the pack. Bentham coming out of the Atlantic discipline, a very good racer at that level, and certainly showing his stuff at times early in 1997, but still looking for better results than he's gotten so far. He's had some difficulty mechanically as well as at Nazareth when he found the wall right at the beginning of the race. There you see the leaders, 1, 2, and 3. The 4 car, Sergio Paese, who has not run the ovals, only ran at Long Beach, and now with this road circuit back in action, and he's staying right with the leaders. And there's David Embringham coming back in the 4th position. He started in the 6th spot. So we have Helio Castroneves, Tony Kanaan, and Paese, the top 3. Welcome back to Savannah. Chris McClure along with Mark Blundell and Marty Reed. This is PPG Firestone Indy Light Racing. There you see the 5th position, 6th and 7th. We have the 99 machine of Lee Bentham, who's moved rapidly forward into the 6th spot from number 10 on the starting grid. There is the race leader, Helio Castroneves. 3 poles this year, well in the championship hunt with a victory at Long Beach already on his resume, followed by his teammate Tony Kanaan, who's 5th in the points and looking for his first victory this year. He was a factor in the championship last year and will be all this summer long. Right behind him, Sergio Paese, who is showing a nice bit of patience there as he keeps the pressure up on Tony Kanaan. The 31 machine, Luis Garcia Jr., has fallen back a couple of spots as he gets the rhythm of the course, Mark Blundell, but I think he'll be heard from before the day is done. Only his 2nd race of the year.
Yeah, what we've got to look for now, Chris, the race is just developing, and the guys are sorting themselves out. They're going to be looking for overtaking places. And the overtaking spots around here should be into turn 2, coming off a 1 if you can get behind someone nice and close, and also on that back straight going in there underneath in the 2nd gear left-hander. But it's particularly bumpy there, and braking can be an issue there when you're inside someone.
Osvaldo Negri also in his 2nd race this year, having skipped the ovals in his rookie campaign, is showing quite nicely here just in front of the 99 car of Lee Bentham at the moment. That is a pretty good fight between those 3 for 5th, 6th, and 7th. The back up front, it is Helio Castroneves putting a little space. He's drawing slowly but steadily away from those in 2nd and 3rd, and there's that fight once again. The 31 machine in the foreground is Garcia, followed by Negri, and then Lee Bentham, and right behind them we have the number 25 machine. That's from the Team Green stable, Naoki Hattori, who's had some pretty solid moments this year. His presence on the team overshadowed by Simmons and Hotchkiss, but a very capable runner as well, as you see them running nose to tail, the 4 of them 5th through the 9th position.
Yeah, there's a very good race developing between these guys. One of the key issues, what we said about earlier, was going to be tires, and this circuit's very abrasive. Again, there's no track data, so these guys are going to have to make their way through the 50 laps and just look after those tires. They're not going to have to push too early too soon, because they'll wear them out.
So they move on to one of the short straightaways, a short burst here. A very grippy track. I think everyone, including yourself, have discovered that with the first few laps around. And you have to manage your tires very well on a grippy track. It gives you one thing, takes another, and it's a tough bridge to walk on.
That's exactly right, Dan. The other issue is brakes as well. This circuit's pretty hard on brakes. If you brake deep into the corners, there's wear on the brakes, but also, again, wear on those tires. You need the retardation from the rubber on the tire. And, you know, they're just going to have to pace themselves and just see where they go. Just develop them, just take it easy. It's 50 laps in this race.
That brake point, they just came through the last corner. You said there were some ripples in the pavement, which made it a little tricky braking back there.
It is tricky. There are some ripples coming off the back straight, and, you know, that's only going to get worse, I feel, as traffic goes around this racetrack.
So the front 3 continuing to pull away a bit. Space between 3rd and 5th is David Embringham running a solo race at the moment. And then this fight for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th as they run nose to tail. Nothing changed in the last couple of laps, but the pressure is up all although Hattori has broken off a little bit, falling behind Lee Bentham in the 99 machine. There you see the first three. There comes Hattori, and just behind him in the number 21 machine, that's Christophe Tinso, the rookie out of France, who had a huge crash in the season opener at Homestead, but recovered nicely and has gotten his rhythm back as a racer in this series since then in the other two races at Long Beach and Nazareth.
Neves is pulling out a nice lead at this point. He's got over a second and he's very comfortable. I think that's only going to extend at this point.
Marty Reed in the pits today for our coverage. Marty, you've got an update?
Well, you guys were talking about David Empringham and how he made a quick early move. When they first came to the track, they were sort of out to lunch by even their own admission. But great communication between Empringham and Lee Dykstra, and they have slowly but surely dialed this car in. They were the quickest in the morning warm-up, and Empringham, with all that experience, and you mentioned it, Mark, about taking care of the tires, and I think he's settling in because I'm timing Castroneves. He is running a 106 pace, and Mark, you'd know best about that. Qualifying was about 105. That might be a little quick.
It could be a little bit quick, and you're right. The tires is a big issue, and I think Epperman's probably got a good race car. He's got it well set up, and that probably develops a good pace for him in the warm-up. So he knows what he's got underneath him. He's going to look to see what's going to develop in front, and you know, maybe towards the end of this race, he's going to make some moves.
He's a very, very smooth driver and has a history of taking care of the equipment. Certainly, tires are part of that. The other thing is, you're running a 106 versus a 105 or 104 and decimals qualifying. It's not unusual with this series, no pit stop scheduled, to run at race speed just about where they qualified. In fact, we remember that great oval race in Michigan last year when they were 3 miles an hour quicker in the race than the pole speed overall.
Well, that's possible as well, because the tire rubber goes down onto the circuit, and as more rubber goes down on the track gets slightly faster, the fuel load gets lighter, and that's why they're capable of running similar speeds.
Take a good look there at Helio Castroneves out of Sao Paulo, who has come to this series a year ago, did win a race at Three Rivers, a day he put no foot wrong, and again from pole position, showing signs of dominance, much like he had at Long Beach. Although he did not leave the field that far behind, he never looked like he was threatened that day. He had them all covered. The standings are Neves, Canan, and the number 4 car of Sergio Paesi. We'll be back. PPG Firestone Indy Light Racing is brought to you by Hooters Restaurants, delightfully tacky yet unrefined. And by Viper, no one dares come close. And by Firestone, America's tires since 1900. Welcome back to Savannah. Look at the race leader. That is Helio Castroneves, who went wire to wire for victory at Long Beach from pole. There's second place, Tony Kanaan. The third place car is Sergio Paesi. And in the pits, we have Chris Simmons, who just a moment ago was off course and ran into a car that had preceded him off course, that of number 34, Jacques Lazier. Simmons lost the nose cone and superstructure at the front of the car, was able to get back around to the pits, and you can see, Mark Blundell, the repairs are underway, and of course the construction of these cars lets them fix that pretty quickly. Meantime, back up front, the two Tasman teammates are pulling away from everybody else with their order unchanged. But Neves very comfortable now. He seems to have it totally under control.
Neves does look comfortable indeed, but you know, one of the problems out there, it seems like, for D'Amata, he's way down the grid in terms of position at this point, which is unusual. He should be a lot stronger.
Cristiano D'Amata is the fellow that Mark was just talking about in the number 3 Brian Stewart racing machine. He was the winner last time out at Nazareth. Started 19th on the grid, now running in the 15th position. We'll talk more about him in a moment. But there's another look at Helio Castroneves, an affable fellow who really enjoys himself. And one of the things about him, Mark, is we pick up Robbie Unser touring through the number 18 car of Robbie Unser running in 14th position, just a couple away from the points right now. And there he is, Cristiano D'Amata in the number 3 machine. Not so long ago, he found his first breakthrough moment at Indy Lights. Let's take a moment to meet him a little more closely. 1996 for Cristiano D'Amata was a disaster, a season that might have destroyed a man with less resolve.
As a driver, I always have a good confidence in myself. So I always believe that I could do the job. But when you spend like more than one whole season just getting bad results, and my best result was a 4th place, my best start was a 3rd, but where I used to start more was like between 9th and 12th. That was my average on the grid, which is pretty bad. So by the end of the year, we started to think and you ended up losing a little bit of confidence, which I think has hurt me a little bit by the beginning of this year.
This year brought him to Indy Lights with Stewart Racing, and victory in just his third race was just the sort of result that can wash away ghosts, old and new.
I wasn't expecting really that win at Nazareth, because it's an oval. It's a difficult oval, because everybody always talks about Nazareth as that ghost, you know. It's something really afraid the driver.
In February, no one here knew him. Now they know he's a contender. And now he's trying to become a contender in this event. He's moved up to 15th position as the course has gone to a full yellow. We mentioned a moment ago that Jacques Lazier had gotten off. Chris Simmons followed him a moment later and lost the front of his car. The full course yellow is to go get the number 34 machine of Mr. Lazier. The latest from Indianapolis Motor Speedway as the drivers focus their attention on the most famous race in the world. Follow it all on The Deuce. Welcome back to Savannah. Chris McClure and Mark Blundell. The pace car has pulled away. They have removed Jacques Lazier's machine, disabled by the side of the road, and we're about to get a restart as we take a look at the top 15. Of course, the top 12 positions will pay points, and Frederick Larson, who started further back, has gotten into the points. The fine young rookie driving for Stefan Johansson. They single file out and turn through turn number 9. A couple of more turns, and they'll see the flag stand, and Helio Castroneves is making a move already, Mark Blundell, to pull away. It's his pace to set, and he wants to go in a hurry.
Looks like he's broken away a bit too quick there. Be interesting to see if they let the start go. But, you know, that's going to be disappointing for him. He was making up a nice buffer, and all of a sudden he's back into a yellow situation. He's got to restart. He's going to make that buffer all over again.
Now he moves into that left-hander that's turn 1. High speed right here on the entry as we take a look at Lee Bentham, who's been climbing up through the field. 4th place still belongs to his teammate, David Empringham. Good drive for Bentham, and Tony Kanaan tries to peek underneath and locks up the brakes. He's going to give up positions. May have hurt the tires desperately, but the 2nd and 3rd place positions go away. Also 4th, perhaps. He's in a fight to keep that. Bentham right there, along with 97. That's Osvaldo Negri trying to get through Tony Kanaan, who made a little bit of a mistake, and it's costing him.
Yes, he made a big mistake there. He just tried to slide underneath there, Neves, and he's blocked his tyres. Now we've got to see whether they've got some vibration. He may have flat spotted those tyres, and he may have to carry that for the duration of the race.
So that changes it around considerably. Neves still on the point, followed by Paesi, then David Empringham, then the 25 machine, and 5th place now belongs to Lee Bentham. So a couple of the blue cars up front once again, and there you see Tony Kanaan trying to get his momentum back and feel out the car and see if he hurt it there when he locked it up. Take a look at it once more, Mark.
Yeah, you see him, he's coming underneath the guy here, but he's not nowhere near close enough, and he's just locked up because Neves is starting to turn in, just sliding off wide, picking up a bit of dust on his tyres. Loses a lot of momentum now, and the other guys capitalize on that.
Let's go down to the pits. Marty Reed.
Well, part of the problem may be that Tony there's a series of 4 throttle springs, and he is coming into the pits, so this is a bit of a surprise. They caught the team out. Oh, and the front wing is damaged, so he has had to stop, and the motor is shut off. He had a throttle spring, 1 of 4, that went completely broken, and it softened up the pedal for him, so it may have been an adjustment that he just wasn't able to make in that cockpit. He's very frustrated, the crew working feverishly to fix this wing, but his chances of victory have just gone down the tube.
Meantime, his teammate, Helio Castroneves, moving out front. We couldn't see it clearly, Mark Blundell, but he must have touched the back of his teammate's car and damaged that wing, and perhaps there was something else wrong with the car that caused him to lock up the brakes and create the entire situation. But there you see 1 through 5, 1 through 6 as they move single file through the back sections of the course. Helio Castroneves at the front, followed by Paesi and David Empringham, who's had a couple of there. We have a little more tire smoke from number 25, Naoki Hattori. You talked about the ripples on the pavement, making it delicate braking in some instances, and as we get into the race further, that becomes an issue perhaps even greater than it was at the beginning.
Yeah, it is going to be an issue as the race goes on, but at this point in time, you know, your heart goes out to Kanaan. He's just left some space for him to do a lot of work now, and also Chris Simmons. I mean, the guy was championship leader, and he's way back in the field at this point.
So Simmons trying to recover. So is Tony Kanaan. At the front, Elio Castroneves, who wants to win a lot of races and build his credentials for the next step up the ladder. And so far in 1997, he certainly hasn't hurt that. There's another good look at the 25 machine, the 13 green car, if you will, Naoki Hattori, who's in a pretty good fight. He's had some great moments in 97 so far. He's under some pretty heavy pressure right now from Shigaki Hattori. So two guys that share the same last name, but they are not related.
I'm keeping my eye out for Robbie Unser in the Pac West Motorola car. We both running in the same colors with the same sponsor, and Robbie's having a good race at the moment. He's making some headway, just trying to go down the inside there of the Marta by the looks of it. All blocking up big time there. That's going to cost everybody. Oh, no.
We get Unser's taken off to the outside. I think that's D'Amata also involved there. So Cristiano D'Amata coming from the back, and Unser also trying to come from the back, which he's done several times this year, and both of them ride off together into the tires. They buried the noses, probably wing damage if nothing else, and whether they'll be able to continue is that's a question right now. Let's take another look at it.
That's a great shame. I think actually what they've done is set up from the 27 car blocking its wheels, and they've both panicked, so especially D'Amata, and he's gone wide, and Robbie was unfortunately already on the outside of the guy and took him with him.
Just got caught out there, the 27 machine out of Mark Hotchkiss, who was developing the tire smoke into the corner. There's the leader, Elio Castroneves, with Paese just behind him. David Empringham is the next one up the track, and then Osvaldo Negri Jr. in the 4th position. 5th place occupied right now by 99 Lee Bentham. And we got is that a flat right rear on the number 8 machine? It looked like that tire might have gone down a little bit.
It did look a bit suspect there. We'll have to wait and see whether the camera can give us a better shot.
Talking about the number 8 machine coming at you right now, and in that one corner, maybe just a reflection off the car of the pavement. Looks okay there, but I wasn't quite sure about the condition of that car as they went around that last turn, and we have gone to a full course yellow. They'll go out and get the D'Amata and Unser cars. No, everything's fine, it appears.
It looks okay. I mean, this is another frustrating time now for Neves. He's building up a lead again. Now we've got a full course yellow, and now the guys have all got to calm down. They've got to keep the tires up to temperature and get ready again for a big restart.
Let's go back to Marty Reed.
Yes, we're down here with Tony Kanaan. You know, we were supposed to talk about 100 yards from here at the end of the race. That's what you told me before. And the throttle spring, is that what caused the contact?
Yeah, unfortunately, and I think the lap number 6, the spring of the throttle broken, and I got my throttle down all the time, and I tried to keep the car running, and I did it pretty well. But unfortunately, and after the restart, I think I used too much the throttle and the straightaway. And when I'm arrived at the end of the pit and end of the straightaway, the corner number 3, I brake and the throttle is still stuck. And I'm very scared because I go to put Eddie out of the race. So if I'm out, okay, but I don't want to put him. So I hope I think he did a pretty good job. And we go to win with him. Next time it's me.
Hey guys, if the throttle stuck on my car, even if it was at 35 miles an hour, I'd be puckering up too.
Indeed, that's a difficult situation out there at race speed. There you saw the pace car and the field now bunched up in single file, keeping the tires warm and clean. Here's the reason for the yellow, as D'Amata and Unser are into the tires, the kart safety team on hand to clear them away. Elio Castroneves is our leader, followed by Paese and David Empringham. We're at Savannah. We'll be back. This is PPG Firestone Indy Lights Racing from Savannah, Georgia. We're about to go back to green with Elio Castroneves in the lead. The pace car has pulled away. Elio Castroneves having a very fine season in 1997. The young Brazilian with a great future. Let's meet him. The rapidly expanding list of exceptional Brazilian racers now plying their craft in North America includes affable and talented Elio Castroneves, a product of the traditional training ladder that began in go-karts and evolved to Formula 3 both at home and in Europe. Neves had already demonstrated his winning touch before casting his lot with Team Tasman and the PPG Firestone Indy Lights Championship last year. 3 podiums and a victory later, Neves claimed 7th in the championship and was immediately numbered among the favorites for this year's title. And if he stays in the position he's in, he will lead the points coming off the 4th race here in Savannah. 2 more turns and we should get a green flag. He tries to pull away, but Sergio Paese, who I think looks a little bit impatient as the laps wear along Mark Blundell, he didn't really go with him that quickly on this restart, so he'll go into this big sweeping left left-hander that's turn number 1. A few car lengths behind as we see them unfolding single file on the front straightaway. One pass being executed in mid-pack, and that's Fredrik Larsen, who moves through to pick up 1 position, trying to pick up some valuable points here. And the dicing back in the field is beginning to unfold rapidly. There are the front 2, and again, Helio Castroneves with a pretty good start.
Yeah, very good start, but I think Sergio Paesi is having a good solid look at him there. He's running very well, and I think there's good potential in to have a sneak through and maybe go underneath Neves at one point.
And the 97 car, Osvaldo Negri Jr., is in the 3rd position on the racetrack. We believe he passed David Empringham under the yellow, and we may get a ruling that would be not in his favor and make him a little bit less happy than he might be right now. And you can see Lee Bentham and David Empringham, 33 and 99, trying to retake him on the racetrack, especially Empringham, who had been sailing along in the 3rd position. Lee Bentham right there. There goes Empringham up the outside. Bentham had actually gotten past Empringham as well, and a big clutch of them on the front straightaway with Negri, the first one in the frame. The 2 blue cars are the teammates, Bentham and Empringham, and down to the inside we also have a move underway from one of the team green cars, number 25, Naoki Hattori, who's been quitting himself quite nicely here today, and number 31 is involved. Luis Garcia Jr. also moving down to the inside as he gets by the 33 car of Empringham. So David Empringham is moving back quickly all of a sudden off that restart.
Yeah, Negri there was actually making himself very wide in a couple of places on the circuit, and I think he was frustrating Empringham. That also caused them to bunch up, and I think maybe it would have cost him dearly in position as well.
Empringham now in a sandwich there. Christoph Tinso, the number 21 car, the orange one in the frame, is trying to take Empringham as well. There you see the front 2. They're pulling away. Then Negri, and then Lee Bentham in the number 99 machine. Empringham was listed 5th a while ago, but he's fallen behind the number 31 of Luis Garcia. There's Christoph Tinso, and the number 26 car, that's Simmons, but he's well back in the standings. Also in that group of cars, number 27, Mark Hotchkiss, who didn't qualify all that well, but certainly has been having a decent season and is a contender for the championship as well. Now the black flag being displayed on the front straightaway for number 97, Osvaldo Negri. So he's going to have to come in and pay a penalty and give up that position, shuffling everyone else forward just a little bit. That's quite a turn there, that left-hander in turn number 1. High-speed sweeper, and you said there's some ripples in the middle of the corner, Mark?
There is some ripples in the apron of that turn there, and it's unusual. It's got a high degree of banking on it for a temporary course, and there's some differential now to what we call this track. Is it a road course or is it a street course? But as you say, that turn 1 is very fast entry, the fastest entry on the whole circuit.
All of the turns here are banked at least to some degree, and that's pretty unusual for this sort of a circuit, rights and left turns.
It's very unusual, but it's a good track. I mean, it's very nice to drive. It's got a lot of flow to it, very fluid, and I think a lot of guys are enjoying racing out there.
This time around, number 97, Osvaldo Negri Jr. from Genoa Racing should answer the black flag, and we get a bit of tire smoke down to the inside as number 16, that's Shigeaki Hattori, moves through for a position, picking up a spot on the track. A lot of close racing in packs up and down the field. This is terrific, not just for the lead where we have 2 cars fighting it out, but everywhere you look.
Very good racing. Hattori did a very good move there. He just locked his brakes going in, but he had a solid inside line, blocked out the opponent there, and also, if you see, the guy that got overtaken just got eaten up by the rest of the pack.
Yeah, he'll fall all the way back. Negri paying the penalty, a double penalty, we are advised. 1 for blocking, 1 for passing under the yellow. So he got a double dip and paid 1 penalty for it, but he gives up that position on the track and probably won't be able to make the podium from that position anymore.
No, I think the penalty there is probably justified, especially for the blocking. He made himself very wide.
Up front, we have Helio Castroneves, followed closely by Sergio Paesi. David Empringham is 3rd in the standings so far, and then number 31, Luis Garcia. And you can see the battle for 2nd on back is pretty hot right now, as Garcia is in there. Lee Bentham's also in there. And then the next group of cars, a few car lengths back, so 7th through 12th, 15th place, really, at issue with this group.
Yeah, it's still very good racing going on, but those 2 leaders out there, Paesi and Neves, have pulled away maybe 2 or 3 seconds at this point. So the guys behind will be hoping for a yellow. They want this pack to close up. It's going to be difficult to make up that amount of time in this race.
On the front straightaway, well, we talked a moment ago about the penalty, the double whammy on Negri, and apparently he broke the speed limit in the pits, paying the first penalty. I think he's going to be called back in. So his day's gone from bad to worse all of a sudden. There's the leader again, Helio Castroneves, in the number 8 machine. on the front straightaway, waiting for some traffic to arrive as they string out a little bit around the course. All you drag racing enthusiasts, take a trackside seat to the NHRA Pontiac Excitement National. It's pay-per-view Sunday, June 15th, 1997. In turn one, once again at Savannah, drawing away steadily from Sergio Paese as he seeks his second victory of the 1997 PPG Firestone Indy Lights Championship. Very, very smooth, very confident, always with a smile on his face, and now about to overtake some traffic. That's not yet, Mark, been an issue in this race, but every time you come up on somebody, you must tiptoe at least for a moment.
Yeah, you have to be careful, but out there, Hattori's not being careful at all. He's just gone by into 6th position, just gone by Tinso, and he's moved up into that top 6 there, which is a good point scoring position at this stage.
Down the long straightaway, that you can see the twitching from the car under braking. That's where those ripples are that you talked about.
That's where the ripples are, and it is very tricky. You've got to make sure the rear of the car stays in line, and you can see Neves there using the inside curve there all the time, just trying to get a little bit of extra width on the circuit. Just got to be careful that those curves don't upset the balance of the car, and he may also catch the curving as well. Might just drop the rear of the car out as he exits the turn.
To get maximum performance in these corners, that one at the head of the straightaway in particular, it is cement immediately at the edge of the road. Do you have to use all of that road to get the best lap?
Well, not always. I mean, it's just a balance of the car. If the car's set up well, you can always cut down on the road you're using. But of course, you know, it's just about using the whole car's width on the road and just trying to make it as efficient as possible. Empringham now is doing a 5.9 per lap, and he's closing that gap in lap pace. And maybe he heard us. Maybe he's taken a bit of notice, and he's just starting to push up now and get on top of Neves and Sergio Paese.
Paese is campaigning for FRE Racing. Frank Frion, a former Indy Lights campaigner who won some races along the way. Alan O'Leary, his engineer. They didn't do the ovals earlier on, I think by the driver's choice, but probably a good choice in the early part of your first campaign with a new series when you're not familiar with ovals to begin with.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to go about stuff, and yeah, definitely the ovals require a different discipline. I certainly found it quite difficult when I first came over here, and it's a great extent of learning. You know, you need to discipline yourself in a different driving style.
Taking a look at the gap back to David Empringham. He's off the final turn and onto the straightaway, but you can see it's growing more and more. And as you suggested a few moments ago, Mark, perhaps giving up too much per lap to save the tires, if indeed that was their intent to begin with.
Yeah, I think he may have left it a little bit too late. We've covered maybe 35 laps or so now, and it's going to be difficult for him to make up that gap. He's probably wishing that there's going to be a yellow in incident so he can get on the top of the leaders again and start pushing into those 1 minute 5 lap times.
He came into the event tied for 6th in the championship, and of course being on the podium and gaining ground in points on everybody else except maybe one ahead of you. The only guy that can gain ground on David Empringham is Helio Castroneves. So running a solid third and settling for the points becomes an advisable decision, at least at some point.
Yeah, at this stage of the season, it's still good to consolidate and get those strong, solid point finishes. But again, you know, he's probably going to be coming up for this race in a little bit better frame of mind, and hopefully the car's going to be better balanced the next time he goes out, and he's going to look for the win.
So there's Neves, there's Paese, and they're into turn number 1 once again. Paese swings it down low, sweeping turn. Some had suggested they should have made that a more radical left-hander to provide a good passing zone because you would be required to brake there, but I kind of like the way they set it up.
Well, you know, you still have to brake there. You're coming down just one gear and turn the car in, and because it's so fast as well, you make just a little bit of a mistake, you're going to be onto somebody by the exit of that into turn 2, so you can still overtake.
Lee Bentham is running well in 5th place as well, the teammate to David Empringham, who is 3rd. Take a look at these machines. Hattori is involved there. There's number 2. That's Arden Dare. The 28 car, that belongs to Hideki Noda as they dice for position back in the field. 9th and 10th at issue there between the 2 and the 28 car as they move through the switchback section. Not close enough at the moment for anybody to think about some sort of radical passing move at the end of the straightaway that's coming up in just a moment, but that may be joined very shortly as a true battle for those 2 positions. Points paid for 9th and 10th. course, the scoring is the same for here as in kart, 20 for first and on through 12th position. All of those have points available.
Exactly, so points are a big issue, and Noda's making some good impressions into the guy in front there, Dare, and, you know, he's an ex-F1 guy. He's done 3 races in Formula 1 with the Team LaRousse. Didn't really have much success. The package wasn't that great, but he's definitely going to have a move on this guy now.
And Mark Hotchkiss right there with them, keeping an eye on it. Noda goes to the high side in turn number 1. Tough place to pass out there. You give up some pavement to make the move. Can he? He's alongside. Can he make it stick? It doesn't look like it. We'll wait and see at the exit here. But he's really not in the perfect position for the left-hander upcoming.
Well, if he stays there, oh no, he just got a little bit loose and got a bit wide. But that was unfortunate. He would have made a very good move if he could have pulled it off. He went the high side, the long way round, and that's going to be tough. But, you know, 10 out of 10 for effort.
And now he's got Hotchkiss all over his rear wing. Looked like he blocked him pretty good there on that little short shoot.
Yeah, he just got to give himself a bit of breathing space. He went wide, lost some momentum. Hotchkiss is on his backside now, but, you know, if he can make his break again and get back onto Dare, I think he'd be pulling that position off of him.
Well, he's in 10th position, and that may be at risk at the end of this straightaway. We'll see what Hotchkiss has for him, perhaps, right here under braking. Now, Mark does not make a move either way. He's content to sit right behind the wing, but Arten Dare was able to pull away a little bit. Now, Noda has to rejoin the fight, get back to where he was, and see if he can do it again.
That's right. He's just got to settle back down again and just get himself into a nice, comfortable position. I don't think it'd be too long before he's back on the Dare's backside again, and once he's on his gearbox, I think he's going to make a move.
And there he is, number 8, Helio Castroneves. Not a foot wrong today as he continues to lead. He has since the beginning, from pole to the checkered flag, perhaps. We'll be back. Helio Castroneves dealt with some traffic while we were away cleanly. Paese did the same, and now they share the same straightaway once again. But Helio Castroneves has it covered. Mark Blundell, from what we've seen, hasn't put a foot wrong, and he's tough to beat, even if he makes a little twitch here and there.
Well, he's just got the car on the edge. I mean, he's got the car perfectly balanced by the looks of things. Oh.
That's Noda and Simmons still fighting with Arten Dare in front of them. And Hideki Noda's used a lot of racetrack to keep Simmons behind him. That was a pretty clear block once again. We've seen that a moment ago, and there goes Noda down to the inside against Arten Dare on the straightaway. He's got the inside position as he runs through some debris. Everybody swings wide for entry into this sweeping left-hander, and Noda got him. But can Dare answer underneath? It looks like he might, as Noda carries it very wide on the corner. Now side by side on the exit, right where he was a few laps ago. Can he make it stick this time? He cannot.
Oh,
and
no.
Simmons loops it around as Jeff Boss right there. They touch, and 11th and 12th are suddenly scrubbed from those two fellows, and Simmons, or Mark Hotchkiss, backs it in toward the tires. I don't know if he made contact with the tires, but his car is stopped by the side of the road. A big, disappointing moment for Mark Hotchkiss. Take a look again, Mark.
Yeah, the blue car there just tucked up the inside, and Hotchkiss turns in, just catches his right front there on that blue car there, number 12, and that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate for him.
And Jeff Boss did see a couple of cars swing by, so now it's down to Noda and Dare for those positions, with Jeff Boss and Mark Hotchkiss having disappeared. And now Boss, this is probably the result of that contact, at least that's my assumption, as Boss is slowed down course. He'll apparently see if he can limp it back to the pits, or perhaps find a runoff where he can get to a safe spot. And there goes Mark Hotchkiss, who's already climbed out of the car. Second straight race where points have been denied him after a great start in the first 2 events this year.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Both these guys are out of the race. Hotchkiss is out the car and he's safe, but number 12 there, yeah, he's out of contention altogether. That right front won't be repairable.
Jeff Boss was having one of his better runs, frankly, in the 1997 season, running in the points just behind Mark Hotchkiss a moment ago. Yellow flags being displayed at the front straightaway, and again, we're going back to a full course yellow in Savannah. This may be the moment that David Empringham was waiting for.
Exactly. This is the time which is going to be crucial now. We're getting towards the end of the race. Empringham, if he's looked after his tyres and he feels strong, he should be able to get on the back of Neves and Paese, and we should see a real good race in their hands.
So the pace car has been dispatched in the late race laps here at Savannah, and the lead built up by Helio Castroneves is going to go away, and we apparently will have a back marker or two between the front two and David Empringham when we get to the restart. We'll know more about that in just a couple of moments, but again, they slowed them down, and move through the twisty bits on the back. Decent crowd on hand here in Savannah enjoying this inaugural race. The first time in 86 years open wheelers have been in this city. Support people up and down the paddock are critical to this race, this series. Let's meet one now. For the chemistry graduate 17 years ago, the job was waiting. 2 years after that, it was on the road.
At the racetrack, my job includes working with the Indy Lights teams and the officials and sponsors, answering questions with the team. During qualifying and practice sessions, we go out and take temperatures using a pyrometer. And with the pyrometer, we take temperatures across the tire in 3 locations. The outside shoulder, the middle, and the inside shoulder. And that information gives you a little bit about the setup of the car and how well the car's working. Then that information is passed on to the engineer of each of the race teams, and they can use it to set up on the car.
Debbie Brown is more than just a tire engineer. She's a friend to all the teams, an even-handed problem solver.
For example, today one of the teams was having a problem. They don't understand why they're not going faster. And so they were asking for suggestions on what to do. And so I go look at their temperatures. We talk about their pressures and see what we think would work best for them. Part of it, too, when there's a car that's in an accident, there is a 3-set rule for Indy Lights. They're only allowed to use 3 sets. So if they have a car that's spun and they flat spot it, or if they've gotten cuts, they have to make a decision how to use it.
Firestone's Debbie Brown making Indy Lights better and better. And here in Savannah, we're under yellow once again with Helio Castroneves in the lead. Let's take a look at the standings as we go to a commercial break, and then we'll be back for the final few laps here in Savannah. Helio Castroneves is our leader. Welcome back to Savannah. We expect a restart coming off the yellow momentarily. Already on the front straightaway, Helio Castroneves followed by Sergio Paese. The 20 machine of John Jones is sandwiched behind them among some of the other contenders. There's David Embringham in the middle of the straightaway. Right now, fighting for his life to keep third as he's getting heavy pressure from just behind. Number 31, Luis Garcia, is right there. And also his teammate Lee Bentham is right there. You see the black car on the right side of the screen. That's the back marker, Jones, and he gave him some room through the corner. At least the first 3 of them to slip through, and then right behind them, number 25, Naoki Hattori gets by Jones. So those people, in terms of podium contenders, have cleared the back marker. One of them, Ayrton Dare, puts a tire off. Christophe Tinso's right there. Also, one of the Mears gang, Clint Mears, has moved up into points right now in 12th position. He's in that group of cars you see right in front of us. Helio Castroneves, Paese, Embringham, Garcia Jr., Lee Bentham, all of which could still win this race, it would appear, with just a few miles, a few laps to go.
Some great dicing going on out there, but Embringham actually made a little bit of a bad restart there. He went very wide on the last turn just before the restart, lost himself some track time, and Neves and Paese have broken away yet again. All incident.
Contact in that group of 4 or 5 cars. It looked like Tinso got a wing up behind somebody, may have touched as they dice into the braking point on the left-hander right there. Frederick Larson also involved in that mess as all of them move through the final turn and onto the front straightaway. Mess in the sense that, boy, they're just everywhere, all over the track with debris flying. That's tough driving. Yeah,
they've just got to settle down a little bit. They've got a few laps left. He's gone very wide and got very loose up on the high side of the circuit. A lot of dust there, but they've just got to settle down. There's 7 or so laps left.
That was Lee Bentham who got wide and gave up some space on the racetrack. Number 25 moved by him, that being Naoki Hattori picking up a spot, and also Dare in there. Number 57, Didier Andre in that group of cars. There's number 31, Luis Garcia. Now, all kinds of position changes and a lot of twitching from the cars. People trying to get power down in a hurry off these corners and kicking the back end out.
They're all trying to get that last position now. It's the end of the race coming close by, and they want to get some valuable points.
Here's a good fight right now as they move down the straightaway. Number 2, Ayrton Dare against number 31, Luis Garcia. Number 25 is Naoki Hattori there with Dare all over his rear wing right now. And, oh, my goodness, Hattori almost turned right into Dare.
Dare made a good move there. He did a very good move. Slipped up the inside, took him by surprise. And now we can just see whether Hattori can get on the back of him again and maybe make the toe into turn 1.
Barre on the inside to the right of the screen into turn number 1. So he has position. And Lee Bentham, something's gone wrong with the car, maybe, but he's backing up considerably since the restart and under heavy pressure once again as he tries to fight for position now further and further back. Is that David Impringham? That's Impringham backing up. I'm sorry. And we have a big crash on the final turn. Impringham is involved. Also, Larson is involved there. Luis Garcia, I believe, is involved in it. As they weave their way through, we'll identify all of those involved. But David Impringham, who looked like a sure podium finisher just a couple of moments ago, is suddenly stopped sideways on the course. The yellow will fly, and Helio Castroneves still leads the race.
You can only imagine that Impringham had maybe a slow puncher or something there, because he was dropping back very, very quickly, and the car looks a little bit loose. It definitely came loose off of that corner. Oh, he actually went high and just touched the wall, so maybe he done some damage there, or maybe got a cut in the tire. So that's going to be a big problem now.
So with the yellow displayed on the front straightaway, the white flag also comes out. You see the pace car coming out of the pits as Helio Castroneves moved by. He slows down to let the pace car get its position. Sergio Paese closes up behind him in third place. On our scoring monitor belongs to Lee Bentham, the blue car you see in the screen right there. And then the number 31 machine, that belongs to Luis Garcia Jr., who is in the 4th spot. Let's take a look at it once again. It's Noda and Impringham side by side.
Yeah, Noda's on the outside there. Impringham just on the inside. Noda's just coming up. And they touch there. Look, there's an incident between the two of them there. And Impringham clips the wall maybe. Oh, look.
He got sideways and someone took his front off the car. And Noda continued on down the course at least a little ways. And now all the kart safety people are on hand to assist. David Impringham we see climbing out of the car, so he's apparently okay walking away under his own power. But suddenly points have gone away.
Yeah, points are lost. And that's just one of those incidents. That was a pure racing incident. Noda had a line, Impringham had the line. One of them just needed to give way. I would have said maybe Impringham should have just backed out of that and maybe had another run down the straight, because Noda at the inside line there was definitely on him.
So under yellow again at Savannah with less than a lap to go, and Helio Castroneves is on the point, followed by Sergio Paese in his second Indy Lights race in 1997 as a rookie, running a solid second, and Lee Bentham in third position, his best run of the year so far, and coming off a disappointment at Nazareth where he got clipped at the start, right at the start line under the green flag, went to pitching to the wall and was out of that event. So a good recovery for him to come back and contest so well at Savannah. And you see the fists already from Helio Castroneves, a fellow who, if he's quick in practice with two teams at some track in the middle of the week, feels great about it.
He's obviously very happy at this stage of the race. He thinks maybe the race is coming to an end under yellow, which is going to be an incredible finish. But he drove superbly. He's done a very good race all throughout the duration of it.
All through 1997, he was looking at Indy cars as his immediate future. They asked him to stay another year, get some more seasoning. He's doing that and apparently succeeding. We'll be back. PPG Firestone Indy Light Racing is brought to you by Finish 2001 Car Polish and Formula 2001 Super Protectant for high-tech shine and protection. And by Firestone, America's tires since 1900. Helio Castroneves has his second win of the year, and tires were an issue.
Yeah, definitely the tire, especially yellow flag, was really tough. But of course, Tasman was, believe me, I was really handling it well the whole race, whole weekend. And that's all. I just have to thank Marlboro, everybody, LCI, Drama. They believe me and I believe them.
The victory has moved him into the points lead by a relatively wide margin over Chris Simmons. Paese, his first points of the year, into 10th position as you take a look at our top 10 in the championship. Next time, we're at another new venue in St. Louis, Missouri. Join us for that broadcast at round 5 of the PPG Firestone Indy Lights Championship. Next up on the Deuce, RPM Tonight. On behalf of Mark Blundell and Marty Reed, I'm Chris McClure. So long from Savannah.